People who sign up to my matchmaking service are like, "Oh, Helga, I heard you're a matchmaker. Could you please find a Filipina for me? Because, I don't want to get scammed. I just want to find someone who's legit and sincere." And then when you tell them, "Hey, by the way, my friend, my matchmaking service is not free because, my job or my rule as a matchmaker is I make sure that you're talking to a sincere and legit Filipina, and I also make sure that you will avoid get scammed by a Filipina." And then they're like, "No thanks, I would rather find a Filipina for myself." So they're basically saying that they want to go to the Philippines, but they don't want to pay for the ticket to go to the Philippines. And I noticed that a lot of men who are so cheap when it comes to paying for a service to make sure that they are protected by someone that will walk them through, especially the matchmaking, are more likely get scammed thousands of dollars and more likely are the one that will complain here on social media saying, "Oh, Filipinas are scammer," but you had a chance not to find a Filipina who's a scammer, but yet here you are complaining about how Helga's matchmaking is apparently so expensive, even though it's so cheap. But anyway, guys, you know what to do. If you're someone who is actually genuinely looking for a serious Filipina who's not gonna scam you, you know who you are gonna talk to. It should be no less than $1,000. So Stan here is referring to my matchmaking service fee. You know what's funny, Stan, especially to all foreigners? When I started my matchmaking service, I started off $200 US. And for me, I was very happy then because my first client ever who I interviewed believed in me and signed up to me right away because he thought that, "You know what, Helga, I've known you, watching you on TikTok, talking how much you don't appreciate Filipina scammers. I do trust you enough that yes, I am willing to sign up right away." And after he signed up, I got so excited and the situation fueled me because I realized that there are people out there who actually trusted me. And eventually I started charging more than 200 because I realized that matchmaking service is not easy. It's actually a lot of work and it can be very frustrating, especially dealing with a lot of men who are so cheap and would laugh at my face telling me, "Why would I want to pay that much to sign up and find a Filipina? Hello, Filipinas are free because they are super cheap." And there was a lot of point that I wanted to give up because it was kind of affecting me mentally. But there was part of me telling me I should not give up because part of the reason why I started it is because I want to help a lot of Filipinas and foreigners not to get scammed or not to get hurt by each other. And that is why part of my service is to protect both foreigners and Filipina, and also making sure that men or foreigners will not get scammed by a Filipina or Filipina will not get hurt by a foreigner. And eventually I came across a client who signed up and he became my friend. And then he told me, "Helga, what do you think is your worth of being a matchmaker?" And during my time, I did not really believe in myself yet because I was just new of being a matchmaker. And he was like, "Do you think this much amount is enough for you to charge men?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that amount." And then he told me, "Helga, you know that you're crazy, right?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And then he told me, "Helga, you're way worth more than that." And I was like, "Are you serious?" And then he told me, "Helga, do you know the average matchmaking fee out there?" And I was like, "No, how much?" "The average service fee of being a matchmaker is starting from $10,000 to $50,000. And I was like, "No way, you're kidding me." And he was like, "No, I'm not kidding, girl. That's the reason why a lot of men do not take you seriously because you are charging way less. They think that your value is less and that's why they don't take you seriously." And I was so surprised by what he told me because I've never really made money here on social media, especially on TikTok, because of course, if you're in Canada, you don't really get monetized here on TikTok. So when I started making money through matchmaking service, even though it was not a lot, I get lucky if I get one client a month. There was a time last year that I only had one client. That was it. And then I even checked Auntie Sima, the Indian matchmaker. She charges at least starting from $10,000 USD. So in a way, how I charge is basically nothing compared to a lot of matchmaking service out there. And there's even a matchmaking service on Facebook, Filipina Matchmaker. They charge starting from 7,000 USD. And no, Stan, I don't charge this much. I charge way less than that. And the reason why I charge less at the moment is because I don't have a website. And I understand that not a lot of people would trust me right away because, of course, I don't have a website. However, my manager, yes, I already have a manager. He told me that the moment I will release my website, that is very soon, I will start charging this much. And that is why I keep telling people, especially to foreigners who are inquiring about my matchmaking, I always tell them it's better to sign up now while I don't have my website because you can at least save a lot of money. When I have my website and they will see how much I will end up charging, they'll probably realize, oh shoot, I should have signed up to Helga a long time ago when she said so. But of course, a lot of men do not listen. And that is why they prefer to get scammed because they are not listening. Let me tell you why they may not be cheap. Most probably they've been hurt or scammed in the past and now are afraid of being scammed by you. Don't blame them. No, I don't blame them at all. In fact, I do understand. However, let's not forget that there are men who are cheap out there. Most especially to those men who act like a kid or who just play around or fool around. Now, when there is a potential client who inquired to my matchmaking service and would ask me how much I charge, I do tell them how much I charge, and on top of that, I give discounts. The moment that they would start asking me a lot of questions and being skeptical, and then they would tell me, how would I know this is not a scam? How would I know you're not scamming me or take my money away the moment I pay you? And I say this, I've worked so hard for being here on social media, gaining my image and gaining my reputation. Do you really think that with that little amount, I'm going to scam you and ruin my reputation and my image on social media? For what? For a few $100s? Nope, it's not worth it to scam you with that little money. And I tell them, okay, if somehow, let's say after you pay and somehow I steal your money and then it turns out that I'm a scam, well, feel free to expose my beautiful face that I am a scammer. And that's it for my social media reputation. But then again, I only explain enough to them. I don't try so hard to explain myself, oh, you need to sign up because I promise you this is not a scam, this is legit, or this is sincere. I don't like explaining myself to those people who are skeptical, negative, and questioning me whether I'm a scam or not because they are not worth it. In fact, there are a few clients that I have that are so cheap and they are giving me a hard time. And now I realize I'm not gonna try so hard to invite and give service to cheap men because really they are not worth my time. If you saw me on social media and how I expose Filipina scammers and on top of that I give advice, what are the pros and cons of dating a Filipina, and you trusted me right away, good. My videos says enough for you to sign up because you have a lot of insecurity or you do not trust yourself enough to find a legit and sincere Filipina because you think that Filipinas are just scammers. Then more likely you will think of my service as a scam. But then again, I'm okay with that because I would rather deal with clients who are willing to sign up right away because they know me very well. And I know for sure they're not gonna give me a hard time. That's how my service works. I do not force cheap client for the sake of my sanity. We have lost so much money. It's all a scam. Listen, Mark, it is not your fault if you get scammed one time, and I'm sorry to hear that. However, if you get scammed by a Filipina over and over again, and you also mentioned from your other comment that your friends got scammed too, again, it is not your fault that you got scammed once. But if you got scammed over and over again, then it is your fault. Because the woman that you are attracted to, as well as your friends, are Angeles City women, or you're attracted to bar girls or girls who are working on the street. And why are you attracted to those kind of girls? Easy. It's because the way they dress up and the way they look. Men attract based on what the woman looks like, based on the physical look. A lot of men are attracted to a lot of girls who dress up provocatively. And that is why a lot of you will get easily scammed, because you are more on quantity rather than looking for a Filipina that has a lot of quality. And I know that based on my experience as me talking on social media and giving you guys advice, as well as me being a matchmaker, dealing with clients who are only into quantity lady. Because if she's not yummy enough, or if your ding dong will not stand the moment you see her, do you really think you would choose a lady who dress up simply rather than a lady who dress up like, oh yeah, baby, look at me, I'm all yours, honey, just give me all your money? Exactly. So that's the reason why you get scammed over and over again, because the lady who are willing to scam you are well aware of how to scam you. They scammed you based on your eyes, and you get scammed based on how they look like. So no, you cannot fool me here that, oh, poor me, I get scammed. I know why you get scammed. Guys, honestly, why would you use service like this? So he's talking about my matchmaking service. Just go there. He's talking about the Philippines. Talk to people, and I promise you, you'll have your picking within a week. Boom! What a great idea, and what a great advice. Okay, let's break it down. How much it's gonna cost you when you go to the Philippines and find a Filipina scammer of your dream. Wait a minute, did I just say a Filipina scammer? And find a Filipina woman of your dream. So let's just say hypothetically you're going to the Philippines and your ticket is around $1,500 to $2,000. And let's just say you're going to the Philippines for 2 weeks, or it could be a month. And let's say you're staying for 1 month, and maybe you'll be spending around $1,000 to $2,000 depending on your lifestyle. Let's just consider that 1,000 or 2,000 depending on which hotel you're gonna stay, or which location you're gonna stay or you're gonna go. And that's about almost $4,000, right? Ticket, accommodation, and food. And the moment that you will arrive in the Philippines and you go directly to the areas where, let's call that Marikina City or Angeles City or Makati City, where all the ladies are, or let's just say you're going to areas or location where exotic Filipinas are. And all this Filipina will see you having a dollar sign on your forehead, will think of you as meat. And instead of those ladies saying, brains, brains, they'll be like, yes, foreigners, lots of dollars, potential to be scammed. And they will be like, hey, foreigners, I'm ready for you. Are you ready for me, baby? And because you're one of those foreigners that are attracted to the wrong ladies, you will think like, oh my God, I must be very handsome because they are all over me. But really, they are all over your money. And because you think she's too good to be true because she's all over you, really, you want to secure her by giving her a lot of money because you see that there are many other foreigners that are looking for her or eyeballing her. And you'll be like, oh, no, 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 no. I don't want the foreigner to talk to her. I will prove to the girl that I am a good fit for her. And because you think you have a lot of competition from other men, what are you gonna do? Here you go, baby. More money for you, more money. And next thing you know, that girl is actually planning to scam you because at the end of the day, you are just one of those foreigner that she met. And there's even a chance that not only one girl that you're gonna be dealing with, you're gonna be dealing with a lot of ladies because really you don't know how to look. You're more likely to attract ladies that dress up in a way that it makes your ding dong like that. And it turns out you end up spending $5,000 total going to the Philippines and got scammed by a lot of ladies. And you would come home and come back to America and be in front of the camera and complain, I cannot believe all the Filipinas are scammers. And you'll be like, I wish I listened to Helga rather than listening to New Guaji here. And it turns out that Helga's matchmaking service fee is actually not bad compared to the money that you get scammed. Dating sites charge also with less guarantee against scammers. Exactly. When you go on a dating website where you pay and you end up talking to a bunch of men or women who are actually scammers, not knowing that they are actually scammers, only pretending that they're genuine and sincere. You spend a lot of time and efforts talking to these people, and you have to talk to men or women that you don't want to talk to, or choose the one that you want to talk to. And that person or woman is so good at talking to you by just making you feel you're so special and made you decide, you know what, let's just talk somewhere else because I think you're the one for me. And not knowing you're actually talking to a man thinking that she's a woman, or perhaps she could be a woman and has a husband. And did you know that there's a lot of couples in the Philippines working together? The husband is allowing the wife talking to foreigner for the sake of money? Yeah, that's right. Now you know. I'm well aware of this tactic or game. So once you get out from the dating website, you end up talking to her or him, and you feel like, oh my God, she's so good to be true. I really like her because I think she's the one for me. And next thing you know, she would start asking you money because at some point, she made you fall for her because, of course, she's so good at it because, of course, she practiced it for many times. And then next thing you know, you keep sending money after money after money. And it turns out she disappeared because she's a scammer. And since you already lost a lot of money, could be thousands of dollars, then you'll complain on social media, all Filipinas are scammers. No, it's not. You are just attracted to scammers because, again, you don't know how to look or detect a scammer. In Helga's matchmaking service, you don't have to go all through that hassles in order for you to find the lady of your dream or man of your dream. Helga has already have Filipina members who signed up who are sincere and legit. The Filipina members are not free. That's right. They have to pay me too, but they're only paying me in peso. The fact that they sign up and they have to pay me rather than going to the dating website where it's free, they would rather sign up to me because they know that my matchmaking service is secure. And these ladies are so tired of going through dating website where they talk to a bunch of foreigners or Filipinas and not knowing these people are scammers. And on top of that, Helga's matchmaking service is a 1-year membership subscription. That's right. You only have to pay one time. And yes, it is guaranteed that you will find your Filipina because Helga is so good at looking for sincere and legit Filipina. All the Filipina scammers, they stay away from Helga because you know why? They don't want their face to get exposed when they are planning to scam the foreigner. So they don't dare to ask me to sign up. So now you know how my matchmaking service works. If men are cheap, how cheap will they be when they find a Filipina? Exactly. So in my experience for being here on social media and as part of being a matchmaker, I've encountered a lot of cheap men. Men who did not want to sign up and men who laugh at my face and telling me that Filipinas should be free because Filipinas are cheap anyway. And apparently they should not spend any penny to even match with a Filipina. It should be free. And for me, in my opinion, it is kind of risky to even match with this guy, or this guy will end up finding a Filipina. And if a Filipina will fall in love with this cheap man, oh boy, this Filipina will end up having a lot of headache. Because a lot of cheap men, especially foreigners, often they will complain such as, oh, don't send money to your mom, you should not be helping your parents in the Philippines. I mean, helping our parents in the Philippines is part of our culture, only if they deserve it. And often, Filipina will have a hard time dealing with cheap men because cheap men are more likely will become super duper strict with her, especially controlling her when it comes to money. And most of all, when he goes to the Philippines and meet her family, and if he finds out that he has to spend this and that for the sake of her family, more likely he will end up complaining on social media. And luckily for me, I found a man in my life who is not cheap. And the fact that I brought him to the Philippines and I made him aware that, hey, when we go to the Philippines, most of the time we have to feed my family because that is natural, that is normal. And my man was like, are you kidding me? Of course, yeah, feed your family, man. And my man would even offer, hey, what can we give to your family? What can we buy to your family? That way their life is comfortable. And for me, that makes me feel like, wow, that's every Filipina's dream, that their husband, especially foreigner, will offer to help her parents. And that is why I'm lucky to find a man who is not cheap. Otherwise, I cannot be with a cheap man. If I find out that you are cheap, I'm gonna be like, bye-bye. One pic profiles on dating site with little information is usually a scammer. And this also applies with foreigners as well. And little that many Filipina knows, there are actually a lot of foreigner scammers out there too, not just Filipina. And when it comes to my matchmaking service, you don't have to worry whether a Filipina or foreigner are scammers. Because the moment that you sign up and after I interview you, that's right, I interview people, not just Filipina but foreigners as well. You get to see profile photos of Filipina and foreigners that Filipina and foreigners provided them to me. And that is why the pictures that you get to see are actually legit. But then again, a lot of Filipinas or foreigners would rather invest their money and time to go on a dating website. On the contrary, perhaps match each other's energy and efforts, slowly get to know each other, and as time goes by, become each other's best friend as you two open up to one another. So he's basically talking about why Filipina tend to get hurt easily by a foreigner or any man they're talking to. Yes, Calvin, I completely understand what you're trying to say. So 3 years ago, I discovered something amazing about myself. I realized that I have a talent of reading people's energy. And that's part of the reason why I chose to become a matchmaker. And being a matchmaker made it so easy for me to match a male and a female. Because again, I can read people's energy. And being a matchmaker can also be a lot of challenge. Because most of the time, men who sign up to my matchmaking service, often they don't like to match with someone who is traditional Filipina. At first, they would say, oh, I'm looking for a Filipina who is traditional. But the moment that they sign up, interview them, and get to know them, that's when I would know who to match them. But when I give them the option of ladies for them to pick, and even if I tell them, guess what, I have a lady for you, the moment that they see option of ladies, they will suddenly forget that they are looking for a traditional Filipina. And because I'm giving them options, it would make them feel like, oh, guess what? This is not what I'm looking for. Actually, I'm looking for a model. I'm looking for an Instagram Filipina. And it makes me feel like, oh my God, I'm giving you the option of ladies that could be potentially your match, but now you don't want to match with them. And this is when I learned that a lot of my clients, they don't usually look at the lady's full bio and what I says about them. They will scroll down right away on the very bottom to see what she looks like. Is she yummy enough? Is she beautiful enough? Is she attractive enough for me to make my ding-dong like that? And it's not about quality anymore. It's more like quantity for them. And because I'm presenting them options, the more they are having a hard time picking the right one. And if I give them 1 or 2 options, they would say, can I see more? And then when they see more, they get so overwhelmed. And a lot of them, they don't listen to my advice, even though they signed up to me. And some of my clients who took my advice, they found their match right away, because the moment that I get to know who they are and found out the kind of ladies they're looking for, boom, I found a match for them. But then they were like, oh yeah, I really like her. I'm gonna meet her soon.